From EPAWA Weather Consulting, headquartered in Worth Whitehall, Pennsylvania, this is Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The thoughts and opinions expressed in this video are those of the forecaster alone and may not reflect those of the staff of EPAWA Weather Consulting LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Now, without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, January 2nd, and things are getting quite interesting going into the month of January. This is not something that was unforeseen. We've been talking about it for a while. People were looking at models and saying that, well, you're wrong. Well, no, we're not wrong. So here it is. Pattern change is coming, and we're going to have a lot different of an outlook in January than we saw in December, which finished very much above average in the temperature department. So we're going to go through the next couple storms here, okay? There's a couple storm threats this week, one near term, one midterm, okay? So we're going to go through those, and then we're going to discuss the long-term pattern, okay? Like we do in every Weather Weeklies video. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and like the video, and you'll get notifications of when new videos are released. This is not just done every Sunday. For those of you who are new, I'm going to have a lot of new people today, I'm sure, just looking to see what's going on with this short-term storm threat. We are in storm mode on the Facebook page. Well, the company is, period. We put the banner up this morning, saw a lot of dumbfounded comments like, what? Huh? What? Where'd this come from? My local forecast says this. Those are the best. But this is something we talked about in the last video I did, which was about recorded around midnight on Thursday night, that this is something we were watching over the weekend. We have been talking about it privately in our premium forum. It is now to the point where it needs to become public, because we do have an imminent threat for parts of the region. We don't just cover Pennsylvania, we cover New Jersey, we cover Delaware, we cover the northern and eastern shore of Maryland. So this is not just something we're just worried about what's happening in what's going on in the Lehigh Valley or Philadelphia or Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Harrisburg, whatever. This is also those areas in addition to this. So let's get into the long range first, is where I start off every single video. Again, like the video, subscribe to the video. That's important. You subscribe, because once we start doing live casting, you'll get those notifications when we go live. Facebook doesn't always give you that notification. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It's an algorithm. If you're subscribed to the video on YouTube, you will get the notification, as long as you are subscribed and clicked the bell for notifications. Okay, you'll get that. Here's our long-range outlook here for from Friday. No changes to that this morning. We have, obviously, we're above average yesterday and today. Happy New Year, by the way. We have a slightly below average shot coming in on Monday. So Monday is going to be a cold day. This storm that's moving south of us will come up the coast just enough to give southeastern areas some snow, and it's because you have slightly below average temperatures in place that allows this to happen. Then a near average day here on Tuesday. Then we have this period here, the 5th and 6th, slightly above average. That's just a quick transient warm up ahead of the next cold shot. Okay, that's all that is. All right. Once we get to beyond that, we are slightly below average for a couple days again. Another winter storm threat rate in here for Thursday night and Friday. We'll discuss that in a video too. And then we have another transient warm-up, if you will. This is probably going to end up being near average, not near to slightly above, but we'll see. I think it's going to be right around 40 or so. That's not really warm. So when you see these slightly above average, everything in the outlooks, they're all relative to time of year. We're heading into the climatologically speaking coldest time of year, okay? So you don't need slightly below average temperatures to produce snow. You don't, especially in the interior. But after that, I think we get in, lock into a pretty colder pattern toward the end of the month. And then we might see a warm-up where we get to slightly above average temperatures here very, very late month into early February. That's possible, but it's going to depend on MJO progression, and I'll discuss that in a video as well. So we're watching this short-term system. It was not listed on the long-range outlook because it looked like it was going to stay far enough southeast where we just get a graze effect along the immediate coastal areas of Delaware and South Jersey. The trends have been to push that further northwest over with time, okay, over the last couple of days. So there is now a threat there, okay. There always was a threat, and it's something we were going to monitor, but we did monitor over the weekend, just privately, not publicly, and that, in fact, has moved and trended northwest. Okay, so here's what average snowfall is. We have slightly below average snowfall expected in the month of January. This is what average snowfall is at those locations. Okay, these are the major climate stations across the region. This is what average is expected to be in January. We have slightly above average snowfall expected for the month of January, so it's going to be higher than this, we think, by the month's end. Now, a lot of places are 0 or very little. Okay, far interior has some very minor snow, probably 4 inches or less in a lot of places. But the rest of us here are generally trace amounts or nothing at all, okay, for the month of December, or actually through the month of December, because November didn't really have anything either. So November-December combination there is pretty putrid so far. So this will be slightly above average. Won't get us to near average snowfall for the year by the end of the month if it ends up that way, but it will still put a big dent into that, okay? And of course, you see what February does here after that point. Now let's get to the short-term winter threat. Here is that system. This is a motion. This is the European model. We have a cold front that's going to come through today. Temperatures are going to dramatically drop off. And then you have the second wave coming along the southern stream. Is a southern stream short wave that is going to move along that very amped southern stream. And the reason this is happening is because the northern stream is not interacting with it. It is staying separate. So because this is staying separate, it's giving this system here room to breathe and develop. And that is what it's doing as it moves off the Carolina coast. But it's pretty far southeast yet, so only our southeastern areas are getting into that action. Like, get over to a close-up view here of that, just the snow. Here it is. This is showing a pretty far northward extent here on the European model. This is the latest 06Z run. It might be a little bit too far north, and I think it is. There's a lot of dry air in place over the interior that's going to be one of those deals where you might see it snowing on radar all the way up to places like Harrisburg and the Lehigh Valley and northern New Jersey, and nothing's falling because you have a lot of mid-level dry air to overcome in these areas, and that's why you're probably not getting snow that far north, not to I-78. I think this is mainly an I-95 corridor and south. Okay, so you could get some areas just to the northwest of Philadelphia, get into some minor accumulations here. Further southeast, though, Delaware, South Jersey, and the eastern shore of Maryland are going to make out quite nicely. Now, this will start off, we think, as rain initially for southern Delaware. Here, starting at midnight, look at that. Then you get some sleet mixing in. Then it goes over to snow. But the NAM 3 kilometer keeps this all southeast of I-95. I don't know if that's correct or not, but we're gonna look at some trends today on the guidance and see where this trends to. Okay, but it's going to be a sharp cutoff between feast and famine for these areas here. So I do think there's an area of 6 to 12 inches from central Delaware into extreme southern New Jersey. I think those areas are very prime to get that jackpot snowfall, if you will. And here's what the NAM's take is on that. It has a very large swath of 6 to 12 here in the middle. And then you look at the cutoff. It goes from this to about 20 miles northwest is there. You cut the snow totals in half, and another 20 miles, it's barely doing anything. Okay, and that's on the NAM. The European model is a lot more aggressive further northwest, so it gets a significant snowfall to Philadelphia in the 4 to 8 inch range. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think you get some minor accumulations all the way to Philadelphia. Beyond that, it's going to be tough to get this all the way further northwest. Again, there's a lot of mid-level dry air to overcome, so I don't think you're getting, if you're up here in the Lehigh Valley, you're up here in Harrisburg, you're up here in Morris County, New Jersey, I wouldn't get too excited just yet. I think this is going to, unless we see some significant shifts in that direction, continuing that trend further northwest we talked about over the next couple model cycles. I don't see that. We have been seeing a push northwest, but it has, whether it halted or not, it remains to be seen. And we want to take a look at all the guidance to see what it's doing at that point and go with trends. But right now, somewhere between here and here is probably correct. All right, so that's where we're leaning here for those, for that storm. So if you have not signed up for the text alert yet, you're waiting for storms to happen, now's the time to do it. And not just for these areas here that have the potential to see snow today, but we have another winter storm threat coming in later in the week. And I'm actually a little higher on that storm for an area-wide event, okay? I'm a little higher on that one. So if you go to this address right here, right above me, epawaweather.com/MPM, or you can go to our homepage and click on the banner that looks like this. It'll take you right to the winter weather alerts, or look for the winter weather alerts, and it will give you the text alerts and the premium form option. We have been talking about this in the premium form over the weekend. Despite it being a holiday, we still continue the private services. So you don't see anything in the public. A lot of you are shocked this morning. What's this? Well, Those people that are shocked didn't watch my video on Thursday to see that there was a possibility, and then there was no public updates over the weekend because of the holiday, so they're like, what's going on? I didn't hear anything about this. Well, this is it, and we've been talking about it for the last couple of days in the forum. If you were a forum member, you would have known what's coming and what our thoughts are, where we're leaning. Now, we did go a little more aggressive with the models this morning, so it does look like we're going to have a big swath here of 6 to 12. The National Weather Service here has those areas in a winter storm watch, but it's for 4 to 6. I think they're a little bit low here, but they might be considering that it's going to start off as rain and then transition to sleet and then snow, which will cut down a little bit initially, but I think there's enough of a thump here in those southern Jersey and central southern Delaware areas to get into that 6 to 12 inch category. And I do think there's going to be a jackpot down there of 6 to 12. It's just going to be a very sharp cutoff the further northwest you go, and they do show that here. It's a pretty good cutoff as you further northwest you go. So I generally like their areas, just not the amounts. I think the amounts are a little bit lowballed here, but we'll see. For some areas, this 4 to 6 jackpot is probably a lot higher than anything. So that's our short-term threat. We will have a map out on weather alerts today. It's a public map that'll have the snow map and discussion and of course we'll send the text alerts to My Pocket Meteorologist subscribers. So let's move on to the next threat. This is the late week threat. I've been on this for a while in a long range. It's been a long range signal for about a month now. This is actually the 4th week that we've had this long range signal, and I'm showing you this is it right here. It's rounding the base of this trough, and this is the GFS here showing it too far southeast as of its latest run. You're like, well, what do you show me this for? It's missing. Well, that's the GFS. The GFS ensemble, which runs an additional 30 times. The same model running an additional 30 times does not have it missing. Here's the ensemble loop here, and yeah, that's not missing. Okay? Not missing. The European model has this. This is Thursday night and Friday morning, by the way. Okay, now this one's a little bit too amped and cuts a little bit further to northwest, so it cuts off our southeastern areas from snow this time and makes it an interior storm for central and northern areas. You see that there? Okay, central and northern areas get a snowstorm out of this. And then the Canadian model is love for all, as is a little bit further southeast than and tracks near the coast instead, so you get a pretty good snowstorm here in this is a significant snowfall potential. Significant as in duplicating what we're going to get in South Jersey, that jackpot would be duplicated here Thursday night and Friday morning. So we want to keep a close eye on this one too, because this one I think has the better potential of the two. And the key to this is going to be this system right here. This is Wednesday. Now we have that 1 day warm up here on Wednesday. Warm up. You're going to have it be in the mid 40s or so before this system comes in. So I'm going to start this. This loop's going to start over here. I just want to show you, and I'll stop it as soon as it starts the loop. Okay. This system up here, this has a cold front with it. This cold front's going to come through on Wednesday night. Lower temperatures for Thursday and beyond. This system comes in Thursday night, so the cold air should be in place. What we're looking for is the speed of this is going to dictate how cold it is and where the storm tracks eventually, because where that barrier or the boundary is between the warm and the cold air is where the storm is going to track. So if this is a little bit faster, there's more snow involved with this. If it's too fast, it ends up being a GFS solution. Now, the GFS is typically more progressive with fronts, so that makes sense that it would be further southeast. That's a model bias of the GFS. The Canadian is in the middle. European model has a tendency to amp things a little bit too much, and it's a little slower this frontal passage here Wednesday night, so that means the train track, so to speak, for this system to travel is farther northwest. So we'll see how this goes, but that's what we're looking for is this system right here on Wednesday night. The speed of that system is going to dictate where this goes, okay? It's going to move right along that boundary, that gradient boundary, and that's where you're going to get your snow to the northwest of that. So, again, we're very high on that system. It might be our first area-wide winter storm threat, where the area is not getting snow this time. We'll get it that second time, okay? So we're going to continue to monitor this closely throughout this week as well. Storm mode is not in effect for this, okay? Not yet. That wouldn't be till the middle of the week if we get to that point, and it's still there, of course. But it's looking promising right now from where I can see, and we like that signal for a long time. Okay, so now every week we go through the long-range pattern and see where we're at compared to the previous week in La Nina. Slight warming here in the Nino 4 and near 1 and 2 regions. So this is near the Peruvian coast. This is near the international date line. The rest of the area has remained unchanged as far as sea surface temperatures are concerned. So this is more of a basin-wide event, but leaning east still, like we talked about in the last couple of weeks. So this is definitely a La Nina, and this is the area we're concerned about. If you look at our number one analog, which is 2017, now 2018, okay, this is what it looked like on January 1st, 2018. Very similar, okay? So the analog, or comparable analog, now you can get rid of the 17 because we're now into the new year. 2018 analog is now still looking good for matching up to what we have globally with these sea surface temperatures, not just here, but North Pacific, East Coast here, Indian Ocean, all very similar. So I would expect that you have a very similar outcome, and we're starting to get into that. Not major blockbuster blizzards here in this kind of pattern here, but we will be certainly colder than average going forward. And the reason the pattern change, I haven't changed. And again, I get a lot of people telling me that you're wrong, and the models say this, and I just been blowing them off lately because I know what's coming. So what changes things here is the North Pacific. We talked about this in last week's video. East Asia Mountain Torque episode was going to change this. This was the pattern in most of December. We had a very strong ridging that was up into the southern part of Alaska and the Aleutians. And just sitting here. Well, that resulted in a deep trough in the western United States and our negative PNA. That's what a negative PNA looks like, okay? Big deep trough in the western United States. Well, if you have a big deep trough in the western United States, you're going to have some serious warm risks in the eastern United States, and that's exactly what we had. We had a very warm month of December as a result of this because this was very stubborn and not moving. So the only thing, the way you can change the pattern is to change this configuration. So this is a pattern change if we can change this. Well, that's what's happening. This is happening. This is live, okay? We'll go over to this ridge is now moving up into eastern Siberia and part of the Arctic Ocean up here and gets established up here and just sits there. It becomes a blocking high in those same regions, okay? So this is your pattern change. This is it, okay? This is happening. This is not speculative anymore. This is actually happening as we speak, all right? So we knew this was coming based on what was happening upstream that would affect things downstream, and this is the pattern change. Now, by this moving up in here, it's going to choke off this low. The PNA is going to change to neutral. You're going to get this long Pacific jet extension, North Pacific jet extension, and look at the PNA. Look at that. No longer negative, okay? So these are the changes you need. You don't need the trough in the western United States. You need it in the eastern United States if you want cold and snow, and I think we're going to get that. So Matt joint oscillation has been a big part of this too. We are teetering on phase 7, phase 8. We're going to loop through 7 again, and then eventually move into 8 as we get toward the middle of the month, it looks like. But phase 7 in January takes on a totally different meaning than it did in December. So this means that we're going to have lowered heights and chances for colder weather and also the chance for snow this month because of this. If it stays in phase 7, great. It's not the Mecca, which is phase 8, okay? Phase 8 looks like this, okay? That would be great if we get there. But you see all the models doing the same thing. They are right here, right now, right near phase 7, phase 8, teetering there. It's going to loop back through phase 7, which is still fine. And then it goes into phase 8 here around the middle of the month or thereabout. And then eventually, this goes to December 31st. It's a little bit longer than the GFS projection that I just showed you right here. This only goes to the 16th. So it starts going to 8 here in the 16th. Here is, this goes to the 31st. This goes to, this initialized the 31st. This goes all the way until early, the end of January, okay? The end of January, so the 30th. That does loop here in the circle of death here toward the end of the month and then to end January, but it's coming from phase 8, so that's still okay. So this will become, once it gets in the circle of death, it just means that the convection along the international, or along the equatorial regions globally, along the tropical convergence zone, has little effect on our pattern. So wherever it came from when it did have an effect on the pattern likely continues for a while in the circle of death if it collapses into that point. So that's a downstream thing. The MJO projection progression here will be monitored for how long this cold snap lasts. Okay, how long do we have this cold coming in and lasting for? Here is the temperature periods that we're looking at going forward. We get this cool shot here Monday, maybe part of Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have a slight warm up, slightly above average here, above this cold front, or before the cold front. Then it moves through. Cold air moves in after that, just ahead of our storm threat here on Thursday night and Friday. So there's the cold shot. You get another cold shot coming in ahead of that. You might get the near average or thereabout before this next one comes in. This one's going to be a pretty cold shot, it looks like here, for the second one. All right. And then after that, it looks like you're going to warm up. Oh, no, it doesn't, because you're now moving into phase 8. And what that means is you start getting cold sustaining itself here straight through the end of the run. This goes all the way until the 17th of January. So I do think we're going to have a very cold-dominated period. You will have some transient warm-ups, if you will, ahead of a reinforcing front, maybe back to near average or near to slightly above average for a day or so until that front moves through and you're right back in the tank again with a colder temperature. So welcome to winter. Welcome to January. This is it. This is your pattern change. This is exactly what we were talking about. So there will be opportunities for snow. It doesn't mean this is not a blockbuster snow pattern, however, but you can certainly get snow like we're talking about for Monday, and we can certainly get snow like we're talking about for Thursday night and Friday. We can have several of those. We have another storm signal that we outlined right around the 15th and 19th of the month. Okay, so we'll watch that period as well for another winter storm signal. But these might not be blockbuster events. They could be nickel and dimes that just add up. Okay, but we still think slightly above average by the end of the month. Here's what the temperatures look like on paper. This is using Lehigh Valley International Airport as an example. It's the centermost point of our region. See, very warm today. Then front comes through later today. Temperatures plummet. And this is where we get here for the next couple of days for Monday, Tuesday. This Monday high here probably might be at midnight. And then you have a couple cold days here. Here's your transient warm up here on Wednesday. And then you're right back down to the cold here ahead of our next winter storm threat at the end of the week. Another one of these little jumps here near to slightly above. That's probably near average there, 35, 37. That's not really that big of a deal. But then after that, you just stay at least slightly above average after that point. A couple cold days mixed in here where you're not going to get it out of the 20s in some locations. So we definitely have winter arriving this week. This is not a surprise, but this is why we do what we do. Okay. So we're going to closely follow this short-term system today. We are in storm mode for that. And then we're going to monitor that late week system as well. That was our storm signal for the last 4 weeks. And it's still looking good to us right now. So we're going to continue to monitor that. So if you have not signed up yet for the text alerts, you're waiting for these storm threats to materialize, well, now's the time to do that. Not just if you live in South Jersey, Delaware, extreme southeastern PA, and Maryland. But also for future threats. I think we're going to start getting into this a little bit more snowier pattern. At least maybe not huge storms, but some snow certainly that will warrant text alerts. So look, if you're on the website and you're watching this video on the website, right below the video, this appears here right above me. It's the same thing. There's the address where you can go. I'll put the link in the description directly to the weather alerts, so winter weather alerts. You can sign up for the text alerts in the premium forum. Those text alerts will be going out probably very early this afternoon, okay? Very early this afternoon. We had some sent out preliminarily yesterday. They're a little bit lowballed. I think we're going to have to increase those totals today for those southeastern areas. But certainly, if you can't find this, just go to our homepage. Right next to the daily forecast video, you'll see this image. Click on it. It'll take you right there. That's just EPAWAweather.com. And that will take you right to the winter weather alerts. You can get signed up for that and be all set. Make sure you do it by, I would say, by noon. Okay, just so you can be sure you're going to be on that list. Otherwise, you might miss out on at least for the South Jersey event. After that, you have plenty of time between now and Thursday afternoon to sign up for the alerts when we're sending out for the next system if it warrants it at that point. So, summarize, La Nina progression will continue to be monitored, building similarities of 2017, 2018. This is now 2018 comparison to 2022. And continuing to monitor the Mount-Julian oscillation progression and timing to determine how long the colder pattern lasts in January. If we stay in phase 8 longer, this cold can extend a little bit further and not result in a warm-up here at the very tail end of the month in early February. But we're erring on the side of caution right now with that, thinking that there will be some warmers coming in maybe very early February if this MJO breaks down. So we'll see. We'll see. But we do have a legitimate 3-week window here of a good pattern here to receive some snowfall. So we'll see where we get Out of that, watching 2 different systems this week that could bring accumulating snow. Monday is a more certainty for southeastern and coastal areas. Thursday night into Friday could be a more area-wide event, okay? Again, we like this for a long time, so we'll see what this signal does here. And both carry the potential for significant snow in the areas affected. Again, today's not the majority of the interior. Majority of the interior does not see anything. The one on Thursday night and Friday could be more of an interior or area-wide event. So we'll keep close tabs on that. And we'll have an update today with on weather alerts with the map, snow map, and discussion this afternoon once we have all of our alerts out to our private clients that have signed up for My Pocket Meteorologist. Again, get on that by noon if you live in those southeastern areas to get on those test alerts. That includes extreme southeastern PA. I think we're getting on that too. Central New Jersey. Those areas will get something out of it as well. So do that before noon. You'll get on the text alert list for that today when they are disseminated, and also our premium forum where we're discussing this continually ahead of this and every other event throughout the winter. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Marchis. That is this edition for Weather Weeklies. Boy, I can't spit that out. Weather Weeklies for Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. Join us again next week. We'll continue to evolve, show what the pattern's doing going forward from that point. We might have 2 winter storms behind us at that point, and maybe looking for a third in that next week. Take care.